immediately.
Okay. You've been talking with the local government?
We've actually dealt with Angeles City. Mayor Blue Boy has been very, very helpful to us, and he loves the stuff. He told me, said we put it in our diesel equipment. One day the air before we use it, the black smoke comes out of the pipe. Now we put it in and it's clear. He said it was once night, now it's day. That's how he said. So
Blue Boy now is a green boy.
Blue Boy is now a green boy.
Okay.
And probably, I think Holy Angel University has tested this already. And I would like to ask Engineer Oliver Haynes about the findings of this and the possible local application.
So in fairness, we'll have Oliver-ness.
Okay, that's right.
Actually, when the product was delivered to our laboratory, we immediately do some testing. We have a stationary, typical old diesel fuel engine present now in our laboratory, and we use the 100% diesel fuel as our first experiment, and we got some results in our gas analyzer. And then in the second phase, we blend the diesel fuel with D1280X, and there was really a tremendous results. First there was a black smoke, and then on the second test, after a few minutes, it reduces now the smoke, and then at the final test and the final check of the gas analyzer, it goes very, very low in the emissions of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide.
So what degrees of decrease are we talking about here?
Actually, this is just a few hours test. We haven't yet got into a long-term test that would really give a very big impact, because the consumers is, as we target the public utility vehicles, and they are hesitant to use this product because the normal
perception
mindset
that anything new will hurt the engine.
Yeah, it could hurt our engine, but a few,
especially with those very fragile old engines.
Yeah, but a few of our colleagues now in the engineering department are now using this product, as well as my students, and they were really amazed and impressed by the way the engine is now working.
So mileage, how much more mileage did you gain with that?
From what the feedbacks that I've heard, it's about 10%, 20% increase in the mileage.
10 to 20% mileage. Okay, how about emission? How many percent reduction from your
We really
analyzers?
didn't get the emission test from the LTO license emission testing, because we are still on the process. We have been advised by our OMSTAR chemical engineer in the U.S. that it takes a few weeks before you can really get a significant result, big change in the emission.
And just if I can add on that, the reason for that is because the first thing that the additive does is clean the engine.
Yeah.
So it circulates all that out, and once it all gets circulated out, then you see your maximum benefit.
It gets into the system.
So it gets better with time, huh?
We also have a fuel processed from a recovered vegetable oil, a used cooking oil. We process it and we convert it into biofuel. So we test the engine, the diesel fuel engine, 100%, and the engine runs efficiently. Now, when we get the data from the gas analyzer, it really is very low in its carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide emissions. Now, when we blend the biofuel to the D1280X, the more it goes down. If we're talking about emissions of carbon monoxide.
Now, this is on small engines. How about on bigger engines? Have you done experiments?
We are now in the process of getting the Angeles City power plant or the Calibo power plant involved in this particular experiment study. But based from the video that I've seen from Costa Rica, which I presented in Cebu with my colleagues during the annual gathering of mechanical engineers, they were really impressed. They can't believe that this additive can really lubricate, increase efficiency in the engine, and even lessen maintenance cost.
Because if you're talking about the Luzon grid for power, how many % of that is oil-based when it comes to generation?
Well, the Sucat thermal power plant, which is bunker C fuel fired, is now stationary, or meaning it stopped because it cannot comply with the Clean Air Act of the Philippines, as well as the Bataan thermal power plant. It's also now stopped because of the Clean Air Act, the emission standard. They cannot meet the emission standard.
So what you're saying right now is there's a good chance that with the use of this additive, we can make these plants compliant and viable at the same
Yes,
time.
we can reactivate this plant using the bunker C, which will comply with the...
Because we have an impending energy crisis in
Yes.
our hand right now, right?
Yes.
So what about the end users, like for public transport drivers? I think we will have a problem there with the immediate adoption of you have to educate them, right, about the proper use or probably percent. Because the drivers, the public transport drivers, they just think of the daily expenses. Like if this will increase the price per liter, then it will be a major turn off, right?
Yes.
So
Actually, we are now getting in touch with the public utility vehicles and try to get at least 2 vehicles on
Experimental.
the
Yeah,
experimental stage.
Yeah, it would be a great idea if you have,
yeah.
if you take a couple of these,
Yeah.
drive them around the
Yeah.
city and say,
And-
this is a
Um,
pilot project.
yeah.
Yes, and
Once they see the additional mileage that they get, that will be,
Yeah, and that's the key part in this is if it's a 5% increase in cost, but a 10% increase in efficiency,
Yeah.
you're going to get the savings, and
Yeah.
people are going to use it because it makes sense.
And that's still without considering the maintenance savings that you get.
Yeah.
Correct.
and
Correct.
the impact to the environment.
back to
Yeah.
the-